Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee of the 15th of May 2024. I declare this meeting open at 9 o'clock. I'd like to advise attendees this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. Okay, now I've received a leave of absence from Councillor Bannon. Everybody else is in the room? Yeah, I think so. Believe so? Perfect. Okay, can I please have someone move that Councillor Bannon's leave of absence be accepted? Councillor Hall, is there a seconder? Thank you. Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That has been passed unanimously. Okay, moving on. I now can refer to the confirmation of previous committee meeting minutes. I note we don't have any previous minutes to confirm at this meeting. Do any councillors wish to declare a conflict of interest today? Okay, there being none, I will now move on to general business for the managers who don't have reports as part of the agenda today. Councillors, do you have any general business for the Development Assessment Manager, Mr. Stephen Ball? No? Mr. Ball, do you have any general business for us?
Through the chair, no I don't.
It's fine. Councillor Wilcox?
Thank you. Sorry, just very quickly. Thank you for popping out the other day. Great conversation on the phone regarding childcares and roads and construction and all that sort of thing. I look forward to more discussions like this. It's been very helpful and a very positive interaction. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Okay, so nothing further for Mr. Ball. You can go on with the rest of your day. Thank you. Councillors, do you have any general business for the Waste and Resource Recovery Manager, Mr. Michael Asnakar? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr. Asnakar, for all of your positive interactions when my residents get their bins missed and getting them collected so very quickly the next day or the next day after that. It's been a bit of a trying issue in some areas where they keep getting skipped and missed and that sort of thing, but I do appreciate answering late night text messages going residents' bins being missed and getting it sorted and that sort of thing. So thank you.
Oh, through the chair. Well, hopefully those instances have been fairly infrequent, but when they do occur, yeah, certainly I do my best to get them serviced as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Asnakar. Do you have any general business for us?
No, not today, Madam Chair.
Wonderful. You may go back to your day. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the reports. I've reshuffled the agenda slightly to enable managers to get back to their day. So we'll begin with item 6.2, followed by 6.3, then 6.1. Okay, so item 6.2, Maple Park Waterway Naturalisation Project. I note that item 6.2 is a public report with a confidential attachment. Proposed resolution to move this matter into confidential is displayed on the screen. Do any councillors wish to move into a closed session for this item? No? No problem. That's fine. I will now ask the Health, Climate and Conservation Manager, Mr. Brett Espenson, to please speak to the report, reminding him that we're not in a closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, councillors. So this report seeks council approval to enter into negotiations to purchase a portion of a privately owned block of land and to create an easement over a portion of another block of land, which are both on either side of council-owned property at the moment. The purpose of this acquisition is to support the outcomes of the Maple Park Naturalised Channel project, which includes naturalising the waterway and construction of a fish passage in that area. The project has received some funding from the federal government to allow that work to be undertaken. However, the acquisition of both of these portions of land that is detailed in the report today will not affect the completion of the project on public land. What it will provide us for is the ability to do additional works to enhance the waterway further and to provide active transport options through that corridor in the future. given we're in confidential, I'll have to take any other questions confidentially, but that's the detail of the report.
Hey, councillors, do you have any questions? Councillor Lane?
Thanks very much to you, Madam Chair. In reading the report, I looked at who was consulted on this report, and I note that we haven't followed LCC's RAP policy, item 8.3, which says identify opportunities to further acknowledge Aboriginal cultural heritage in the planning scheme, consultation with any development, assist to conserve the cultural significance of Logan waterways and land. Why aren't we consulting with the elders?
Through the Chair, we do have a consultation plan that is ready to go that includes consultation with our First Nations communities. We're just not at that stage yet, so the consultation process will be starting in June, and this decision today will form an important part of that first step of consultation. So there will be consultation occurring with First Nations.
I don't quite understand. We've got a report before us asking to do stuff, but we haven't consulted with First Nations people yet, but we consult with them after we approve it? What if they don't agree with it?
Through the Chair, that will be part of the consultation process. We because of the confidential nature of the acquisition, we haven't gone to anyone in the community to talk about acquisition at this point.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Bradley?
Thank you, through the Chair. I'm very grateful for this report and very supportive of this sort of type of work, so thank you for bringing it up. But the reason I put my hand up is on page 24 of 30, which is in the public domain. It refers to the Springwood Summit, and I'm like, how on earth did Mabel Park get in to the Springwood Summit? I was there, and I don't know if anyone else in this room was there. One other person, one other councillor, but Mabel Park was never mentioned. I'm curious how that came about. It's nowhere near Springwood.
Through the Chair, my understanding is that the reference there is to the Slacks Creek project generally was mentioned in the Springwood Summit.
The Slacks Creek area referred to was behind, I can't think of the cafe's name. Yeah, that's where it was referred to, not the area of Mabel Park at all, nowhere near it.
Through the Chair, that's right. The linkage here is that we're talking about the acquisition of these properties will allow that active transport connectivity, which is part of that Slacks Creek recovery plan process, which was talked about in the Springwood Summit.
Yeah, I don't think that specifically was, because I don't think that was actually done by them, was it?
Through the Chair, I'd have to take that on notice, sorry.
Yeah, I don't recall that at all.
Okay.
The Waterway Summit, 100%, because that all came about when I was chair and something that I pushed for. But I can't understand the reference. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's got nothing to do with it, in my opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. I have Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. How did we select this particular section?
Through the Chair, it's a section of the waterway that's not naturalised, so it's a concrete channel, and it's in council land at the moment, so there's the council land in the middle, and that's the piece of land that we can do work on, and there's opportunities on either side on land that is not council owned.
Okay, and so there's been no community consult on this section yet?
The plan for how the waterway will be redeveloped, redesigned, is ready for community consultation in June.
So again, what happens if community say that they don't want it?
If they don't want the work done in the waterway, that would then inform whether we continue with negotiations. So this is simply to enter into negotiations, and we will make sure that it all connects. We won't acquire the land if the project doesn't go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. I have Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank yourself and also your team for the the extensive and excellent work that has gone into preparing for this next step that we're going into. I'm really looking forward to participating in the consultation process. I'm actually very excited about that element, and I'm happy to move when it's time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. I have Councillor Heremiah and then Councillor Bradley again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question's around the governance of the recommendation. The public recommendation is that Council endorses acquiring a property by negotiation. And the property is known as Property A, so we can't identify that property. I am wanting to know that have councillors been provided information on who the landowner is that owns Property A, so we can manage our conflicts of interest appropriately?
Through the chair, I'm just going to look at the confidential attachment. I don't believe that it's in that confidential attachment, no. Through the chair, that detail isn't in the confidential attachment, no.
Thank you. So councillors have an obligation to make sure that we don't vote on things that would be considered a conflict of interest. It would be assumed that acquiring a property from a property owner would benefit that property owner. Councillors haven't been provided information as to who that property owner is. So we could be voting on something that a councillor has a conflict of interest in unintentionally, purely because they haven't been provided a title search of that property. So I brought this up many years ago, 4 years ago, I think, the first time I brought it up. But going forward, I think with property acquisitions, it would be beneficial that when we vote to endorse acquiring a property, that council officers provide us information so we can make sure that we're practicing our due diligence. If that property is owned by a landowner, mention the landowner in the confidential documents. If so, if it's owned by a business, we should do a search on that business and identify the shareholders and the directors. So I hope going forward we can receive that information in confidential attachments.
Through the chair, I'll speak to the governance manager as we progress that through.
Thank you, Councillor Heremiah. I guess, would you be considering deferring? Would you feel more comfortable deferring to ordinary council in order to make a decision?
Thank you. I've done a title search, so I know who the property owner is, but other councillors don't. So if they feel appropriate to defer, I think that could be appropriate, but I'm sound in my due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll go to Councillor Bradley and we'll test the room to see whether councillors would prefer to defer.
Thank you, through the chair. I would move to defer, please.
Okay, so meeting 10. Do I have any further questions before we go any further? Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Chair. To avoid needing to push this forward another week, would it be possible for us to move in, or would it be helpful for any councillors for us to move into confidential so that people can just have a look at their report and then maybe discuss the possibility of them knowing the owner of the property? I mean, it is, yeah.
So you want to move into confidential?
I feel confident in my vote, but I just wanted to see if there might be anybody else, because I'd be happy to vote today.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Do we have that information available if we move into confidential?
Through the chair, I just think that Councillor Heremiah might be able to clarify, but I think it's held under a company name, one of those properties. So we don't have the ability to talk about company directors or the like. So my recommendation would be that we test the recommendation that's in the report and then if that fails, then we defer.
Okay then, no further questions. So councillors, we have the original motion on the screen. Do I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Russell. Is there a seconder? Councillor Murphy. I will now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And myself, sorry, yes. Okay, I will go around the room and if you could please state how you voted.
For.
I'm abstaining because I believe that due diligence needs to be done here and all that information needs to be provided.
I'm abstaining because I don't know who the owners of the property are.
For.
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 For. For. Abstain.
For. And I was for as well. So that has been carried? Yep, so that has been carried. All right, I will now move on. Wait a moment. Okay, councillors, does anyone have any general business for the Health Client and Conservation Manager today? No? Mr Esbenson, I understand you have some general business for us.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair. I just want to remind councillors that LEAF is on in a couple of weeks, Sunday the 2nd of June at the Griffith Uni Logan campus at Meadowbrook. You should have all received invitations. If you have any specific questions, please reach out to me. The awards ceremonies are from 9:30 till 10, with the full event running from 9 till 3 p.m. at the Meadowbrook campus of Griffith University. And I'd welcome you all there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr Esbenson. You may now carry on with your day. Thank you. Okay, next we have item 6.3, the South East Queensland City Deal Logan Lee Meadowbrook Infrastructure. I note that item 6.3 is a public report with a confidential attachment. A proposed resolution to move this matter into confidential is displayed on the screen. Do any councillors wish to move into a closed session for this item? Okay, no. Fine. I will now ask the Economic Development and City Planning Manager, Mr David Radich, to please speak to the report, reminding him that we are not in a closed session.
Through the Chair, and good morning, councillors. The recommendation of this report is to execute the funding agreement for the city deals. If you look through the report, it talks about a number of council resolutions that we've had dating back to 2021. And a lot of these projects have formed part of the Meadowbrook implementation plan and have been endorsed in some way by council. So the next step now is to really unlock the funds through agreeing to this funding agreement. So there's about $35 million of funding that council will receive, and there's a balance amount that the state government will receive to deliver some long-standing pieces of infrastructure that they have been advocating for. So that's the decision before council today. If there's any specific questions around the projects, we'll have to enter into confidential.
Thank you, Mr Radich. Do we have any questions? Councillor Hall.
No question. I'd just like to move the recommendation.
Okay. Right, no further questions. Councillors, we have a motion on the screen. Councillor Hall has moved the motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Murphy. I will now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that has been carried unanimously. Does anyone have any general business for the Economic Development and City Planning Manager? Mr Radich, do you have any GB for us?
Through the Chair, no, I do not.
Okay, wonderful. Have a great day. Okay, moving on to our last report, item 6.1, attendance at Technical Roundtable Meeting, UN Habitat Quality of Life. I will now ask the Director of Growth, Economy and Sustainability, Mr David Hanson, to please speak to the report.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, just leading on from a resolution that was gained in December last year to put our hand up to participate in a United Nations Habitat pilot project which is seeking to measure quality of life indicators across 8 pilot cities around the world. We've been invited to attend a technical roundtable in Singapore in a couple of weeks' time. So since the original endorsement, the request to participate was accepted by UN Habitat, officers have been in a number of roundtables and meetings to advance the project. We're now at a point where the project proponents would like to get all of the pilot cities together at a technical level to start to discuss where the global indicators are landing and where the localised layer for Logan, those indicators that are unique to Logan, what they might look like, and to socialise those across all of the participant cities. So the request is that I participate in the technical roundtable. There is no cost to council, so the UN Habitat organisation is paying for flights and accommodation, all those things. There would only be minor travel incidentals that we might be required to pay for. And I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Are there any questions? Oh, perfect. Okay. We have a motion on the screen. Do I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Murphy, seconder. Mayor Raven. I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that has been carried unanimously. Okay, that concludes the agenda for today. Does anyone have any general business for the Director? No, Mr. Hanson, do you have any general business for us? No? Okay, there being nothing further, I just wanted to mention that May is Small Business Month, which celebrates the vital contribution small businesses make to our local community and economy. I ask that you please support our local small businesses where possible, and if you're a small business, remember that the Logan Office of Economic Development are here to support you on your business journey. I now declare that the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment meeting of the 15th of May concluded at 9:22, and the City Lifestyle meeting will begin in 10 minutes. Thank you.